All right, hey everybody. I think we're live. Got ourselves an auction here. Nomad's in first seat, which is in second seat. Let me just finish getting set up here. All right, we've got noise is happening. We've got game 1 of TMTL Division 1 for the Americas. And looks like we're looking at a game here with fjords, and I think it's no landscapes. Landscapes off, fjords map, no additional scoring. We've got 4 factions picked. So we got Nomads in first seat, Witches in second seat, Alchemists in third seat, Engineers in fourth seat. Alright, and I'm going to rely on you guys to let me know if the levels are off at all, the music versus the voice and all of that. Alright, so what do we got? So this is Red Alert's first home game here. And I already went over the settings. So there's 5 players in this division, like with all divisions or most divisions. And Claybo Jangles is the one player who's sitting out this game. This is Red Alert's first home game here. We got Red Alert, Ryan the Man, George Shortwell, and Bizzle. So an even split between US and Canada in this game. So we'll see what happens. All right, immediately we got bids on Nomads. Let's break down the setup a little bit more thoroughly here. So we got the bonus tiles, we got the scoring tiles. Just gonna make a quick adjustment here. All right, we've got a first bid on Alchemists. So we are on Fjords. Looking at the scoring track, it looks like an interesting track. So we've got Temple's first round into Town second round, which is not something a lot of folks can take advantage of usually. And then we've got late dwellings, late big buildings, fourth round trading posts. Okay, so it's a reasonable scoring track, I'd say. And looking down over at the bonus tiles, we've already got a lot of bids here on everybody but Witches. So we'll see how this progresses. On the pass tiles, we've got a couple of pass tiles folks would like to start on here. There's a Spade, it's a Priest, Worker Power. What appears to be missing is the big building tile with 2 workers, Temp Ship, and 6 coins. That's a fairly well-balanced set of pass tiles, I'd say. And looking at the cult rewards, we've got the whole spread. We got Spades for Earth reward in round 2. Got Air Workers at the end of round 3, Water Spades at the end of round 4, and then Fire Workers at the end of round 5. So this is a pretty kind of vanilla, random setup in some ways. Let's get back to the bidding. Nothing really stands out to me about this as high econ, low coins, low worker, nothing like that, other than I will say the cult rewards are pretty good beyond round 1. So let's break it down. Let's get some hex numbers going here. Map indexes. Okay. So far we know witches are going to be the 40 faction. We've got Nomad's bid down the furthest right now at 32, and then we've got one bid on Alchemists, and now the second bid on Engineers. So looking at these factions, these players are bidding quickly here. So looking at the color wheel here, we've got Witches and Engineers on gray and green as color neighbors. Then we've got Nomads and Alchemists spaced out across the color wheel on yellow and black, respectively. So pretty friendly color wheel, all told. Green and gray can certainly get in each other's way quite a bit here. So let's see. Let's look at possible opening placements here. We'll see if I can get everything to the screen at once a little bit. All right, opening placements. Looking here. So typically with Alchemists and Nomads, I believe on this map, you'll often see some action in this region here. So Nomads probably on either F4, H5, possibly both. Alchemists often on G5. And then Alchemists would also occasionally want to start G8 or C5 as central hexes here with access to easy early shipping. Engineers often want to start on E8 over here. And in some instances want to start G4. Now the presence of witches here on green means that Engineers' obvious path out of this western fjord here is through F3, which if witches occupy, it's not going to happen. So in a green-gray matchup on this map, I think a lot of times you'll see gray starting on D1, unless they have sort of tempo on placement such that they know they're not going to get boxed in on F3. But so I would imagine Engineers may want to start E8, D1 here. So one way or another, I think with Engineers in the game, I think one of Nomad's starting placements are likely to go on E7. For Witches, I'm not sure what that start would look like here. Witches have a bunch of places they can get neighbors. F5 could potentially be a good source of neighbors, but not a great town location. Well, potentially. On this map, witches have a nice potential opening when the temp chip is in the game, which is that if they start in some combination of D2, F5, F8, G9, they have two easy to get to hexes that are one chip away. And both of those can be hexes where they can get a decent amount of leech in the first round. In this case, there's no temp chip, but it's possible witches will want to get a priest one way or another, an upgrade chip in the first round. So that's an option. Let's check it on the bidding here. So we see some of these factions coming a little bit closer to each other. Engineers, Alchemists both down to 34. Nomads on 29. Still nobody jumping to witches just yet. Looks like they may be thinking about it. So looking at the seat order here and what past tiles are available, working back to front since that's the order they're going to be chosen in, Engineers will have access to any of these tiles that they want. The first round being Temples, we will, I think, definitely see at least one Engineers Temple, possibly two. Engineers kind of have a unique ability to build two temples in the first round much easier based on their building costs and how many workers they start with. So two of the options for Engineers would be to start on Spade or to start on Worker Power here. It depends on what they're going for. The Spade's pretty much always good, but Worker Power could allow them to have access to the double Spade by the time, if nobody else takes by the time it gets to the fourth turn on them. So that'll sort of depend on opening placements, first digs, and upgrades. and who gets enough leech, because it's possible that alchemist witches or nomads could take the other power tile, the shipping bonus, and hope to steal double dig. That's not true. It's possible that alchemists could do that based on how the power would break down, or alchemists would get enough leech to pull that off. So I imagine engineers will be starting with either worker power or spade. I think I would start with worker power personally, but frankly, these are all much stronger players than I am, and I wouldn't be surprised if anyone would start spade, which leaves alchemists the choice of the other one of those two tiles, or potentially the priest if they want to upgrade shipping. Early priest occults in the first round doesn't look too promising here. The first round reward is just 2 coins for every priest occult, which doesn't really get your economy rolling in the same way that a spade or 2 extra workers would. So I would expect that whoever takes the priest is likely, I guess it depends on who it is, but is likely to use it to upgrade their shipping. Probably either alchemists or witches. So by the time it gets around to witches, they may have access to the priest for some shipping strategies. It's possible they'll still have access to worker power. So I guess the question is, what are nomads starting with here? What do people see for nomads? So looking at the general game plan on the scoring round here, we've got temple round 1, towns round 2, big building round 3. So I guess the big question is, what opening would nomads like to take here? One option would be the stronghold opening. Can be very good on this map, being able to slice through some of these fjords to open up some more natural yellow hexes. 2 problems I see with the stronghold opening here. The first is that the first round doesn't pay off for strongholds. The third round does, which is much easier to hit, and even in the 5th round if you want to go for it late, depending on what your strategy is. The other issue is that there's no big building task tile here, so there's no points to be had in the same way that you normally would be able to get maybe 4, 8, possibly 12 points off of pass tiles from just having the stronghold up all game. And I think the third reason why I'm not sure whether stronghold opening makes any sense here is that stronghold's pretty economic building for nomads. It allows them to really push their network in a lot of cases, sort of at the expense of scoring points from a potential early scoring favor. In this case, we're looking at 3 other factions that can play network pretty well, particularly alchemists, and I think also engineers here. So I think what players are seeing here in continuing to bid nomads the highest is this round 1 temple event that they'll be able to hit, possibly being first to pass onto double spade in round 2. And then round 3 stronghold should be very doable. And often round 4 trading post can be an event that nomads can really capitalize on. I think that the track lines up pretty nicely for nomads. I guess I would also say that if nomads did start strongholds, it would be possible to get around 2 town, though not likely. Alright, so we'll see. So we got George on witches for 40, feeling pretty blah about it. We've got Bizzle on nomads for 27, paid the most for them. Next, Alchemist, that's Red Alert, whose home game this is. And then finally Ryan the Man in 4th seed on engineers at 32. So not too long of an auction. Fairly tight spread. I mean, 13 points top to bottom. So kind of as anticipated, first dwelling goes on F4 for nomads. Bizzle opens it up with that. George throws his first dwelling on F8. We get G5 from Alchemist. So far, no surprises here. Engineers gladly jump on E8. I would imagine this next placement would be D1 from Ryan, but maybe there's something a little more out of the box he's got in mind. He's thinking about it. Gray and green do have to be careful about each other here. So we talked a little bit in detail about Nomad's potential opening. For witches, there could be a shipping strategy to start here. There's a likely chance that they'll be able to start on the priest if alchemists don't take it. So yep, indeed, Ryan does go with D1. You see Red Alert jump right away on G8 here. And so we've got one more dwelling from witches, which I think is probably going to go F5. But we'll see what George wants to do there. And the nomads get to place their remaining 2 dwellings, having seen everything else from everyone else. So if I had to predict, I'd say witches will probably go F5 here because it looks like good leech. They could go F3 if they didn't anticipate connection issues. And then I think we'll see nomads drop a dwelling on E7. And we'll see where their third one goes. So yeah, we talked about nomads' potential openings. For witches, it's kind of similar. Witches, I think stronghold opening is much more viable than nomad stronghold opening in a wider range of cases. So I think it's more likely we'd see that start here. But again, it doesn't pay off that well points-wise in round 1. Okay, so Bizzle immediately jumps on E7 and then goes H5 here, which to me reads like he wants to maximize leech. So we could see if he goes for an aggressive dig to start off at H4 here. Cut Alchemists off. We'll see how much Alchemists even care about that. But that could be 2 nice town locations here across this H row in the middle for nomads. And then bridging up through E5, C4, B5 here, as well as a town over here. Alright, so engineers do go worker power, so it looks like they're angling for the double spade here. That's Ryan the man. And then alchemists jump happily on spade, witches take priest. The nomads go on the coins and cult step. So I'd say so far nothing too surprising here, the way the game's gone. So keep in mind, this is round 1. We're looking at a temple scoring event. Ghosty says classic Bizzle. I don't know Bizzle's playstyle all that much. What's classic about what's going on here? He's on the faction that got bid the most. Does seem to be playing pretty fast. Managed aggression, Ghostly says. All right, well we'll see. Maybe there's a stronghold opening here after all. I can't imagine it's that good, but I could be misevaluating. All right, so we've got a bit of a leech zone over here for folks. Everything passes around to Ryan the man. Engineers who double digs F7 to open up F6. This is a neat little play here. Seems like it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's going to have access to F6. Nobody's going to block him there. Now he's gone all the way through the fjord. Gets a lot of access to diggable hexes. And still has easy access to D5 as well. Unless Witches goes to Stronghold to open, where they could claim that. Alright, so Bizzle takes the single spade action to secure, or at least transform H4. Bizzle says things are unexpected. I don't know if he's commenting on his own game or the game state in general. Some healthy banter between the players. I mean, this is a lot of leech flowing around to start. which I think makes for a fun game. I think it makes the opening round a little bit more chess-like as well. Lots of leech to go around indeed. Alright, witches take priest. Alchemists take workers. And so engineers have the opportunity to upgrade F7 and guarantee themselves a whole lot more leech here. I think I really like engineers' opening position here. But we've got a potential Earth 1 rush on our hands. So Bizzle claims Earth 1 first thing, which I guess shouldn't be surprising given that he declined building on H4. He's going to greed out those 2 VPs and still be able to pass first in the round if he wants to, I think. Although I'm not sure if he wants to. Yeah, interesting Engie's dig. It's not typical. I mean, spending a double dig to open up 2 hexes immediately and kind of no hexes after that, it's not working towards any other natural grays other than the one that he just opened up. It's not always the most efficient. But with the way that the leech is coming in, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if engineers have a legitimate shot at double spade round 2. I guess it really looks like what these other players' first round looks like. Alchemist upgrade temple, I'd imagine this is going to be Earth 1 as well. It can be hard for them to find ways to score without it. Earth 1, yep. So engineers have tempo on Earth 1 if they want it here, and it looks like they're going to go for it. So I guess these players are potentially evaluating this as a generally low scoring setup. Let's see what Ryan does. Yeah. And there go all the Earth 1s. Bunch of chumps, some would say. Not me, I wouldn't say that. It looks like Witches missed out on Earth 1 here. Meanwhile, George has put his first priest to air. Give himself some standing on that cult. And he's got another priest and a decent amount of coins here, so I do wonder if he's going to take the coins action. Do some shipping. I guess that only gets him. Yeah, he takes the coins. He's going to need those coins. His ability to upgrade ship, get out 1 dwelling here. Also has the ability to play a little bit culty potentially. Take the 3 spot on Earth going into next round. And he could go Stronghold here. So that would be Stronghold 2 dwellings at the end of the round. Yeah, this will be interesting. We'll see. I'm curious to see what George is going to do here without Earth 1. Like I said, these are pretty economic factions. I mean, nomads are pretty flexible, but these are some pretty highly economic factions that can all usually compete on network. I think on this map, none of them are at a severe disadvantage that I can tell. Meanwhile, alchemists are using their workers action here. It looks like to open double temple. That's G8, G5. So I imagine this will be a temple on G5, which gives nomads a lot more leech as well. Looks pretty good for Bizzle on that front. So I imagine this will be an alchemist temple, probably for Earth 2. Because starting 2 temples means you don't have access to a ton of extra workers. Best background music, thanks so much. Latches? Do you go by Latches? L4CHS? L4? Thanks, L4. Put together a playlist. I've played it every time I've streamed so far. I think it can be a little bit awkward if it's just one person talking without any music in the background. But you know, at the same time, it doesn't feel awkward when other people do it. It just feels awkward when I do it. Okay. So engineers use all of their workers round 1. Get a pretty solid opening. So what they're sitting on here is temple, trading post, 2 dwellings. And what that does is it really maximizes income going to round 2. Because you can see, if engineers passes 1 more dwelling, there's no income there. This way, they get 2 coins and 1 worker, in addition to the priest and 2 workers. So that's a really good way to sort of offset starting with Earth 1. Sometimes starting with Earth 1 can set you back relative to if you start with an income favorite tile. This way, Engineers have maximized the resources they got coming in. Players are joking that there's not enough power actions to go around. There's only the bridge left. George could take the bridge. I don't think he'd have the workers to do anything with it if he went stronghold. But all right, so here's the moment of truth here for George's game. Okay, we've got a temple. It's going to be air 2 potentially. Bring in 4 power plus 2 immediately. Air 2. There it is. So George takes a commanding lead on the air cult. We see he's still sitting on a decent load of coins. He's got good income coming in. And that all that worker, the air cult standing will get him a lot of workers after round 3. So it doesn't pay off immediately. But there's definitely some workers in his future here. Nonetheless, it looks like a little bit of an underwhelming start for witches. I don't think this is what George was hoping for. Alright, so Red Alert has a couple options here. Yep, right. That's the obvious option. I forgot that Red Alert was on the Spade Pass tile. So, digs, declines building for now, has enough power that they could convert for a worker to build that space. But it doesn't look like that space is under any real threat. Meanwhile, Bizzle's passed out of the round onto the dwelling scoring tile with a full power bowl. So Bizzle is going to be able to double dig to open if he so chooses, which I think he will. I think Bizzle is going to be able to double dig next round, get out 2 dwellings, some combination of E5, D3, E6, H5, H3. A lot of access to 1 dig hexes here. I imagine E5 will be one he really wants to secure. Protected from engineers here. Build out more dwellings for more points with Earth 1. Get some bonus points off of the bonus tile. I imagine he'll also want to throw a priest to Earth. Pays off a spade. So we got a couple of folks who are going to be able to take advantage of the spades coming off of this Earth cult. Potentially 3 of them. We'll see. So engineers are looking to pass here. Pass onto the trading post scoring tile. Alright, my read on that is that he wants the worker. I don't think he cares too much about the points from the trading post. So George has advanced shipping to get out 1 dwelling here in G9. Then we see Red Alert convert the worker over to go to G6. So it looks to me like George is out of things to do, is going to need to pass. Nope, he takes the bridge. Alright, so maybe George has dreams here of a round 2 town. Or else maybe he just sort of figures he's not getting a good power action next round anyways. May as well take the bridge now to alleviate the pressure later. Alright, so overall an interesting start. We've seen kind of an atypical dig here from engineers. And then we've got, again, an atypical bridge location here. I mean, the location isn't atypical, but usually spending that power in the first round is not something you tend to see. Very curious what George has in mind here. These are all really strong players. I was looking at the ELOs before the game, and on average, these folks in this league, I think this game even more so, average like over 600 ELO. I think that if their average ELO was a player, they'd be ranked top 20 on VGA right now, which is totally insane. This isn't even the Premier League. Alright, so here we go into round 2. Town bonus round. We'll see if anyone can pull that off. Maybe engineers are looking to get a town this round. That'd be interesting. We'll see what power action falls to them. They've got coins and probably and/or single dig if they want them. All right, yeah, Bizzle takes the double dig as expected. Takes e6 and e5. Leaves e5 hanging for now. This makes a lot of sense. Yep. Ryan on engineers takes d5. Okay, so you know what? I think I was wrong. The trading post tile that he passed on to there, I think will pay out decently for the points, not just for the worker here. Because I think that what he can do is upgrade e8 to a trading post, take a town, and then still have enough to probably coin town, and be able to build a second temple here. I love this opening. George takes advantage of the spade on his passed out to secure e4 before anything funny happens. And it looks like George has enough to upgrade shipping one more time here on witches, which gives him access to d2, f5, and b4. That's really nice. And you know what? The coins are still open. So depending on what happens with Leech, George could end up with the coins as well. We'll see. Wow. This looks real nice for a lot of players here. Haven't talked too much about what alchemists are doing. They are hurting for spades, but you know, they've got the 3 priests they need to upgrade their ship 3 times. And they're on the ship scoring tile. So this looks great for them. They've got 3 workers right now, which would allow them to get out any combination of I8, E10, A10, potentially C5. Any 3 of those. So a bunch of really strong starts here, I'd say. Okay, engineers go for the 2 key town. Yep, George upgrades shipping as expected. We'll have just enough coins to get out 3 dwellings if he chooses. So again, that's b5, d2, f5. And does have enough power now to take the coins action. Would have to burn down below 6 power tokens to do so. This is interesting. Oh, this is a great game so far. A lot of good stuff happening. So this round isn't exactly wrapping up yet, but looking towards next round, we've got a pile of coins someone can pass on to. Worker power and priest, all pretty desirable pass tiles in general. So there is some benefit to passing first here, certainly. Alright, so Ryan claims the 3 spot on fire here. Oh yeah, and having taken the 2 key town, that gives him 3 power off that one move, which is great. So it looks like he's angling for those coins, I would imagine. Love to get out the second temple this round. Alright, so George is having a think. I don't see what he's gonna... No, maybe he's considering taking the coins and burning here. It seems risky, but he might need to get risky. One unfortunate thing that I'm seeing here is that, nope, just goes ahead and builds on b4. Engineer's first dwelling here on d1. They've got a lot of good stuff going on in the east, but their dwelling on d1 is looking kind of lonely and a bit cut off right now. Because they don't have any ability to ship and dig hexes for a while here. And by the end of this round, I suspect that d2, b5, and f5 will all be gone. And I think that nomads would like to get to c4 and b5 as soon as they can. So if b5 C4, D2, and F5 are all taken. That means that engineers really can't connect D1 to the rest of their settlements here. That's definitely something fragile in Ryan's game that I see here. We'll see how that plays out. I'll be interested to see. Alright, meanwhile, Bizzle's thinking more about what he wants to do. There's some benefits to passing early, which I wonder if he's considering. At the same time, and there it goes. At the same time, there are other options he could take, so I imagine coins, yeah. Yep, so Bizzle's going to go into this next round with a boatload of coins. Ryan snaps up the coins action. So Bizzle's next round can definitely involve a stronghold or sanctuary. He's interested. I don't think he can take both. And he knows he's getting more leech as well from D2, and then eventually F5. So he's going to end this round, unless I'm missing something. Wow. Even more leech. Yep. Ryan takes. Ryan upgrades. Wow. You know, I really like Bizzle's position here. Alright. Ryan upgrades second temple. Takes Earth 2. And now we see Red Alert building around the edge here on 3 ship. The rest of this round looks like it's pretty much spoken for. I think we're just going to see the rest of the dwellings built. So Ryan's up next to pass. Gets us 2 points from that tile. I'm guessing he's going priest here. I guess it depends on the power situation. I sort of expect Bizzle to take double dig here again. If he takes double dig here, I think he can still have enough to do second temple or a sanctuary. I mean, probably a sanctuary or a stronghold. That is what the round scoring says to do. But after round 2, nomads are on temple 5 dwelling. Witches are on temple 6 dwelling. Alchemists are going to be on 2 temples, 3 dwellings. And engineers have slow buildings as well. Again, Ryan keeping things really efficient here. He's got income maxed out. No empty slots showing. Definitely showing why these guys are some of the best ones. Some of the best in the game here. Alright, Red Alert passes for 9 points. 6 worker income going to the next round. So to me, for Alchemists, this screams Stronghold. Getting around 3 Strongholds, once you've already gotten your favorite tiles in hand, and you've got your worker economy looking pretty good. Looking pretty good with your dwellings. Can be really strong. It also gives immediate boost of income. Takes the spade, interesting. Gives an immediate boost of 12 power and 6 coins around after that, which helps a lot with maintaining points, not burning too many points for coins. I'm saying things most of you already know, I'm sure. But just to really spell it out in case anyone's new. In case anybody's still getting their bearings on some of these factions. I know alchemists don't come up too often sometimes. Oh yeah, and we got bonus spades. What an explosive start from these guys. So nomads and engineers both have 1 bonus spade they can use. Nomads choose to put it on H3 over here, work towards this town, and work towards cutting across this continent. And then engineers use it on D6, which gives them access on one shipping to C9, F9, a lot of things. All right, so nomads build a sanctuary to claim Water 1 rather than take a power action. Really prioritizing Water 1 here. Looks like Bizzle might be queuing up to have a pretty big trading post round next round. And then engineers take coins right away. The only ones who could afford to have stolen the double dig at the moment. So the double dig will wheel back around to nomads if they want it. What do we miss? We got a sanctuary from witches for Water 1 and a sanctuary from alchemists for Water 1. I assume. For Water 1, yes. And just like that, all the Water 1s are gone. So we got players really prioritizing the scoring bonus tiles here. Excuse me, scoring favorite tiles here. So witches missed out on Earth 1, and engineers missed out on Water 1. Both nomads and alchemists have Water 1 and Earth 1. I guess it's not surprising with round 1 temple scoring, low scoring setup, round 3 sanctuary scoring. But frankly, I was hoping for at least one stronghold here. Maybe that's just me. Alright, George has approximately 1 million workers and about 0 coins to his name right now. So he's going to be looking to rebalance that at some point. Bizzle leading the charge for favorite tile rushes, says Red Alert. This is looking like a really classic kind of Nomads game here. In some ways. Hey, some people knock them, but even when taking early, Earth 1, Water 1, scoring favorite tiles, they can get you a lot of points over the course of the game. Particularly if you find ways to sort of build your economy outside of that. Yeah, so Nomads have upgraded their ship. Take a double dig and claim even more hexes. So Ryan is one hex away from being, I think, entirely cut off D1 from the rest of the settlements here. I think that's going to be a pretty big problem. I wonder what kind of pivot we're going to see, if any, here. I could be missing something, but it looks to me like engineers' network aspirations are in trouble. Red Alert saying he forgot he had that spade. Or excuse me, they forgot they had that spade. Alright, so George is thinking about what to do next here. Again, boatload of workers, coins not so much. So down converts a bunch of coins, passes onto the ship scoring tile. Even to me, this makes a lot of sense as someone who probably can't see half of what George has seen in this moment, but it's going to be able to take the coins action to start next round. It has a lot of workers to play around with. Next round is a trading post round. But, I mean, with that pass, secures himself at least 6 points for the bonus tile. a desirable power action and some tempo in the next round. And frankly, looking at what he's already done here, I don't think there's anything else he wanted to accomplish that round. He locked up a scoring favorite tile, got the Sanctuary built at a time when it scored points. That's a nice pass. So Ryan takes single spade to build on c3. With one ship, he's got access to 4 hexes right now. E2, and then c1, c9, and then f9. So he immediately builds on c9. So again, looking at Ryan's income here, I think we see a lot of really good planning. Keeping things pretty maximized in that department, keeping the one trading post up for coins, making sure to get the second temple out for power, and then not having any wasted worker income here. Alright, so Bizzle's second to pass. Now I'm about to pass on to the trading post scoring tile, which looks great going into the trading post round. What doesn't look great is the number of coins that Bizzle has right now. Because that number is 1. But it's got some options. We'll gain some power at some point. We'll get some power from folks upgrading next to him. Can always convert some workers to coins. They're good like that. And could upgrade E6, D3 to start. Give him access to a potential point town. Which means he could get 3, maybe 4 trading posts out next round. Looks like he's got the workers for it. That would just be, what would that be? 5? Yeah, he's got the workers to do that if he wants to. He could get 3 trading posts out. But let's think about what to do here. It looks like they were saying in chat that Spade was covered up. So they forgot about it. So they're going to be able to spend that Spade, but they're not going to be able to build on it just yet. Oh no, they got workers. I don't know what I'm thinking. Where'd these workers come from? Did Red Alert get the workers action again? Looks like they may have. Okay. The undo. Reconsidering Spade location. One thing about Alchemist on this map. Yep, there it is. Big's G7. I was going to say, one thing about Alchemist on this map. Their access to hexes on the east half of the map is fantastic on 3-ship. It's really good. You do exactly what Red Alert did expertly here. Upgrade ship to 3, and then get on all of these hexes here. What can be tricky is turning those into town locations with neighbors. And furthermore, getting to the west. But, okay, these players are playing quick. I'm not keeping up. Let's see. So, to start this round off, George takes the coins action as expected. Bizzle sends a priest to water. Ryan sends a priest to water. And now we're up to Red Alert in the 4th seat. So Bizzle was fortunate to pass on to the trading post tile in this here trading post round. Got alchemists on the dwelling pass tile. Some points there. And then witches on the shipping pass tile. There's some points there. So folks being pretty thoughtful about their passing tempo here, as you'd expect from this caliber table. But now with the coins action and the down conversions going into this round, George has a lot of resources. Before he spends any more of them, throws the priest to water. So Bizzle does upgrade trade post D3. I imagine we'll see another trade post upgrade on E6 from him there. These players know what they're doing. They're moving fast. George takes yet another priest. Still has 6 power kernels to work with. George does. And a boatload of resources. And there it goes. So as expected, Basil upgrades second trading post. Has enough for a town. I'd be shocked if this wasn't a coin town. Takes the coin town. And has just enough resources to build out 2 more trading posts if he so chooses. Some classic round scoring happening here. Very good use of the scoring tiles. And furthermore, 4 trading posts is really great coin income for nomads. It's like 14, right? Am I anywhere close to that? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. That wasn't very close. Regardless, that's a lot more coins coming in off of that 3rd and 4th trading post than most other factions get. So Ryan's thinking about what to do here. Ryan also has an awful lot of resources and a really big footprint so far. I bet he's thinking about connection though. It's like I said, unless I'm missing something, it doesn't look great to me. Ryan upgrades a trading post. D1. Interesting. Okay, so we see Red Alert building a lot of trading posts as well. Usually for alchemists, it's difficult to do that at this stage of the game. I guess we're already on the 4th round, but it can be a little bit detrimental to the overall footprint here. Because he has not invested resources, they've not invested resources in upgrading digging yet. And all of the natural black hexes are taken. So I don't know what their plan for getting more dwellings out is. Wow, okay. Ryan builds out dwelling on C2. So this is an obvious town location here. He's going to want another neighbor eventually, I would imagine. But bridging over here, not a problem. Ryan's already on 10 structures. Again, I don't see those getting connected. Which is on 3 ship managed to secure their connection hex here. So I6 connects the stuff over the east here with the stuff on the west there, and Bizzle, as predicted, builds out 1 more trading post here in 8-5. Who do we have missing out on water 1 here? So engineers did miss out on water 1 here. Ryan's points look nice, and his game looks great. But I think not being able to compete for network is going to be very challenging. Okay, George builds out a trading post. He's got enough coins to build out 1 more trading post, and has a lot of workers that can be converted over as well. Yeah, so Bizzle gets out of the round again. Pretty highly efficient with his actions here. Passes on to worker power. Great pass tile for his current situation because he's got a lot of coins coming in. He wants that power to get him another double dig. Double dig can secure H6 before alchemists get any funny ideas, or engineers get any funny ideas but cut it off. And D5 is another one he'd really want to secure as well, I think, for that town space here. It's going to need 4 hexes to make this into a town through the middle. So George builds out another trading post. Yeah, Ryan's got a massive footprint here. One more worker as well. And get out another dwelling or trading post. Trading post can also use that. Let's use that priest as a worker too, honestly. Though don't imagine he will. That's getting sent to a cult. We do have cult speeds coming at the end of this round as well. Everybody but alchemists are going to get cult spade. Oh, just like that, I missed it, but alchemists went and upgraded their digs. Very nice. Gonna be passing here with 3 trading posts on the board. Looks like 6 dwellings. It's pretty good. Oh, it's a lot of fun to watch such strong players play a game like this. The leech flowing around. Able to make so much for their resources. It's great. Bizzle catches some leech there, and is going to go into next round again with a full power bowl. The option to take double dig if he so chooses. So Ryan passes it on around second. The visuals are glitching out a little bit here. I think I'm going to reload. Before we go back to that, I just want to point out one more time. Look at this. All these players are in the top 50 on BGA. Got George 10th overall, Bizzle also in the top 20. It's crazy. What do we miss? Okay. George hard digs a dwelling. Hard digs a hex here. H8 for dwelling. For eventual dwelling, excuse me. Not yet. Then Red Alert builds on D4. As this round draws to a close, George has got to decide what to do. I wonder if he's considering... Yeah, there it goes. So he builds dwelling on H8, which is good because it provides his worker income, but I think the real reason that makes the most sense here is that it forces Red Alert to pass off of the dwelling pass tile, which allows George to get onto the dwelling pass tile. It also forces Red Alert. It also blocks Red Alert from passing on to the ship scoring tile and denying 9 points. That's a pretty big swing there by George. But the cost of it is that he does have to burn down below 6 power tokens, which means he's not going to be able to get the double spade again this game. Alright, so we get the spades coming in. Bizzle digs B5. Ryan digs E1 over here. And now George has the option for one more as well. I'm going to step away for 1 minute. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. What did we miss here? All right, George uses Cold Spade on G3. Working towards the town over on that side, it would appear. Bizzle builds a dwelling on b5. And then Ryan takes a bridge action to connect over for this town here, d1 to c3. So my guess is that we're going to see a stronghold from Ryan here. Because he has points for it in this round. And because with the one bridge up, that's going to be more points on the pass each round. Furthermore, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that allows them to build another town without having to do an expensive trading post or another bridge. Excuse me, that allows them to build the town. Alright, so red alert digs h5. So this is starting to get a little bit chippy. Excuse me, h6. So cuts off Bizzle's connection path. Bizzle's easy connection path to the east here. But Bizzle still has some options. Still able to cut through here to h2, ship up to e3 on 2 ship, and then eventually connect c4 to e3 on 3 ship here. So Bizzle can connect these. He could also double dig g4 and connect what could be 2 separate towns into one town, but that seems like a much more desperate move. And I think that Red Alert's got one big thing on his mind right now. Excuse me, Red Alert's got one big thing on their pardon me, on their mind right now. Okay, which is secure g4. So Alchemists are going to have a difficult time getting to the whole western edge of the map. I don't even think they're going to try. But if I'm Alchemists, I'm snapping up this workers action ASAP. Oh, but too late. Bizzle takes it. So Alchemists have 5 workers and 2 priests plus some power to play around with this round. Which is still decent, but they're going to want as many workers as possible to build out these towns. There's a lot of digging they have to do with no natural blacks left to access. Alright, actions flying all over the place. What did I miss? Engineers make their town for another cult step town. Score the sanctuary this round. And we'll be scoring some bridge points. On the pass, Alchemists take the coins action. And now witches upgrade a stronghold to get their town. So checking in on the point totals here, witches are really kind of pulling away a bit. This town's going to put them up about 10 to 15 more points. Yeah. They take the workers' town. It looks to me like George is rushing through what's left of this round to try to get back onto that ship scoring pass tile. Really nice passing tempo here from witches throughout the game. Maybe a little bit awkward at the beginning, I don't really remember, but it's looking really nice. George is also going to be passing for a decent amount of points here on the dwelling path tile as well. Excuse me. Alright, we see an Alchemist Stronghold come out. Something I failed to draw attention to before is that at the end of this round, engineers are getting a huge influx of workers from the fire cult. So far, they're the only ones to take advantage of the workers on the fire cult. Now, I think by the end of this round, we'll have a couple of different players taking advantage of that. So George triple digs G3 here and declines building a dwelling for now. Then Bizzle upgrades to the Nomad Stronghold down here. So what I think is going to happen here, Ryan passes out of the round first. Wow, okay, Ryan passes out of the round first, and I would imagine it's going to go for that chip scoring pass tile. Yep. So now alchemists are up. This round is nearly over. Players are almost out of resources, but I think what we're going to see here, G3 is a pretty key hex for George. And I think he's going to need to hard convert that priest and power in order to secure it. Because right now, I think Bizzle is salivating over the prospect of hitting G3 with a sandstorm. Because to Bizzle, I don't see any difference between G3 and H2 over here, except that G3 hurts an opponent and gets him one chip closer to E3 over here. Meanwhile, Red Alert builds out a Cult Town here, which looks good. Making up some points there. So I think George has got to secure G3. And you know what? He built out the stronghold, so he didn't even have to convert anything for it. That's great. I missed that. So has that town location locked up? I don't see a third town here for witches. Unless I'm missing something, which I very well could be. But there's the second town for Bizzle on nomads. And then I guess the real question is there bridge pressure? If nomads want to get a third town, they want to get that bridge in the last round from C4 to E5. And right now, engineers have the capability to block them if they'd like. Which they may not need to. They may have other things they want to do with their game. Double dig could look really nice here for them. But that remains to be seen. So Red Alert's thinking about what to do next. They've got the trading post pass tile open to them, which I'm sure looks pretty good. Yep, they do pass for that. The other option they could have had was to send priests to fire to get some more workers, but doesn't seem worth it. So now we've got a little bit of a stall war here. George takes a priest to kind of provide additional actions here. Bizzle sends a priest to fire. And it looks like George will be able to... Oh, you know what? If Bizzle wants to, he's got 5 power. He could convert 5 power to a priest. Initially, it looked to me like George was going to win this stall war. But now I think both players are well aware of this option. So that was a clever little play by Bizzle, using the power gain from the fire track to put himself in a position to be able to take to be able to get one more priest. And I think what's great about this is that he doesn't even necessarily have to take the priest and use the power in order to get the benefit from it. Because George, knowing that he can do it... Oh, no, George is going to make him do it. Okay. So we'll see if I'm talking crazy here, or if Bizzle really wants that dwelling pass tile. It looks to me like alchemists are going to want to take the bridge here from G8 to I7. So I don't think Bizzle cares about passing early for that reason. He's got to make that point somehow. So indeed, he does convert to a priest, which is rough for George. I think George would have really liked to have Bizzle not have that tile. So George is going to have to pass here. Has a couple of options. Could take the spade. I don't know exactly what his last round looks like. I suppose it's just building out as many dwellings as possible. He's on 3 ship. I see 2 natural green hexes, I2, H1, that it can be reached. Otherwise, he'll need to spade or hard dig those dwellings down. I wouldn't be surprised if he passes on the spade tile here. But I'll be very interested to see which power action engineers are prioritizing. to start the round. So if they take double dig, I think witches are going to want, I don't know, witches just sort of want as many coins and digs as they can get at this stage, I think. So we'll see. I'm not going to speculate too wildly. We'll just see what he passes on to. Going into the final round, we've got dwelling scoring. Excuse me. Got it scratched in my throat. We got dwelling scoring in the final round here. And alchemists aside, we're going to have 11 workers coming in. They're going to need to build some trading posts before they can get out dwellings. We've got engineers with 3 dwellings available to build, nomads with a couple. Witches will have to build out some trading posts before they can build their dwellings as well. Yep, okay, so George does pass on to the spade. Alright, moment of truth. What's Ryan going to take for a power action here? If anything. No one else is threatening the double spade at the moment. In fact, nobody else is threatening the double spade at all. All these other players have burned down to 5 power. That's gotta feel nice. So right now, on one ship, I see 2 hexes that engineers are able to reach immediately. I don't see any more town locations for them. And I do think that they're going to want to upgrade their shipping at least twice. Or rather, twice. So that they can take full advantage of the pass tile that they're on. Like I said before, I don't think that they're going to be counting on any of their points coming from... Oh no. Ryan's got an emergency. He'll be back in a few seconds. Oh, no emergency. Just needs to have a think. Things are confusing. I'm not sure I understand, but I'm glad they're... Oh, autocorrect. Okay. I see. I would like to think a little. Thank you. Okay. Everything's good. No emergency. Just thinking. Which I would argue, key component of this game. Thinking. So yeah, Ryan's got a lot of calculating that he could be doing here. This strikes me as a moment where if this was a turn-based game, you could sit down with pen and paper for 10-15 minutes and really try to work it out. So he does take the bridge. So he's going to block alchemists from taking the bridge and completing the easy town here in the south, as well as nomads who, if alchemists for some reason passed up on the bridge, would love to take it as well. All right, red alert hits. Nope, red alert undoes. A couple undoes here from red alert with dig locations. Yeah, so red alert is gonna coins go to George. He's got to be very happy about that. So red alert upgrades C7 to a trading post. I think what happened there was red alert was going to dig C6 and put a dwelling down, and then realized that they didn't have any dwellings left. So you can be pretty sure that the next action here from red alert is to double dig and claim C6 here to try to get a town out of it. And nomads did have the opportunity to sandstorm that hex, but chose not to. Very merciful indeed. I think that what Nomads might be going for is an alternative town location up in the north. Because if they cut through A5, they can get to A4. I think that would rely on fire too, but I think that it looks doable to me. Keep double clicking by accident. Excuse me. All right, so keeping in mind this is dwelling scoring, everybody but George is on a pass tile. So there's only one more open cult slot here. All the other little pedestals at the bottom are occupied by priests. And these cults are still pretty contested. Engineers looking for ways to score here without connection could choose to prioritize the cults. The other thing is that all of these players have expanded their network such that they may get to the point of needing to build temples to free up trading posts to free up dwellings anyways. At this stage in the game, temples can score you points with Air 1, or if the cults are close like this, a temple could take one of these three-step favor tiles and try to lock out a cult. So my personal hope here is that George Shortwell upgrades a temple for water too. Ah, so close. Air 1. There's time yet, George. There's time yet. We'll see. All in all, though, really interesting game. And a fairly quick one. These players are keeping the pace up here. So the raw scores right now are looking pretty tight. Everyone's spread between 93 Nomads and Alchemists and 102 Witches. Looking at the game state, I would say Alchemists just finished their town. I would say that Witches have one more town in them, and that's it. So interestingly enough, nobody gets 3 towns this game. I think everybody's going to 2-town this game. Is that right? Yeah. Which is a particular bummer for Witches since they get bonus points off town scoring. So those are points that are yet to come in for Witches here. And then we've got the Network Race and the Cults, which I think are both going to heat up here a bit. So I'm not calling this game for anyone yet. I don't have a sense of who's about to take it. Still a lot of points to come in. Every dwelling that gets built out pushes someone closer to network points and gets them 2 to 4 points as well. Still a lot of resources for engineers. They'll have the ability to take double dig if they want it at some point. Red Alert manages another workers action. Has 6 workers and 4 priests. So I don't think there's any doubt that Red Alert's in a great position to win network here. So we'll call that 18 points for Red Alert, straight up. Although Alchemists' cult presence is nothing to brag about. Looking at Engineers' game, I think they're going to be last in network. It does look like Nomads have what it takes to get all connected here. So to me, it looks like a race for second place in network between Witches and Nomads. It's possible one of them already pretty much has it in the bag, but I don't think so. I think it looks pretty close. George upgrades a trading post. That's interesting. Doesn't turn it into a town just yet. Could have upgraded that trading post on G4 or G3. Perhaps it's a leech denial play. I guess it doesn't really matter since no one else is getting town anyways. Right now, Witches are on 12 network. Nomads, once they upgrade shipping, would be on, 13 network, it looks like. 13 network. And Alchemists are already on 14, with a dwelling available and plenty of workers available, plus infinite coins. Engineers, Nomads, and Witches are all up over 100 points right now. Alchemists could have dreams of getting another town here. Is that possible? They dig A11 and decline to build. Digging A11 doesn't block any other players. I don't think there's any way. There's no way, right? No, there's no way they get another town. I think they're just hitting easy to reach one dig hexes, and in this case, one that doesn't give anyone else any power. George builds out another dwelling using the stronghold. So we got point totals all pretty close here. Witches with still one town to come. Alchemists with the network win in the bag, unless I'm sorely mistaken. And a lot of cults still up for grabs. It's a tight race, top to bottom on water. Engineers and Nomads are both tied on Earth. And fire looks close between Engineers and Nomads as well. We do have 3 players on pass tiles that it looks like they'll be able to just about max out every one of them. Yep, so everyone's passing for 8 or 9 points except for George. Plus, Engineers are also passing for another 9 points because of their bridges and stronghold. It looks pretty close to me. It looks pretty close. I'm certainly not able to call it right now. George does still have a spade in hand as well. It's a bummer that Witches don't need to build out a temple in order to free up more dwellings. Love to see a water 2 from George here. I do think we'll see a water 2 from Ryan on Engineers here. some amount of cult play here from the favorite tile seems like it could be to Engineer's benefit. Another thing to keep an eye on is that Bizzle's held on to this this priest. Has the possibility to put it on Earth to close out Earth. Now, I wouldn't think that he'd do that because I assumed he wanted to connect all of his structures with one by upgrading shipping one more time. But the thing of it is, I think he might have second place in network regardless. Right now he's got 8 connected structures. Engineers are at 7. So I wonder if there's any way that Bizzle wants to use his stronghold to just secure 9 connected structures and assume that that's going to be enough to beat Ryan on network for 3rd place. In that case, using the priest on fire could be on Earth could be more points. So we'll see. So here's his final town from George. George goes with the coins town. Looks to me like George has enough for a trading post and a dwelling. Possibly 2 dwellings. No, would need more spades for that. Looks to me like George is going to finish on 14 network. So we'll see what Bizzle has to say about it. So this is the network race right here. Alchemists already have it in the bag. Engineers don't anticipate getting better than 3rd one way or another. Is Bizzle going to push for it? Okay, Bizzle builds out a dwelling. Still has the option to upgrade shipping. For 14 connected structures. Alright, we're coming down to it here. Engineers do have a lot of resources still. Upgrade the temple. Here comes water 2. There it is. Oh, you love to see it. And enough power to get that double spade as well. I think we all appreciate a good water 2, but George in particular. So it looks to me like Ryan has enough to build out, to take the double spade and build out 2 more dwellings if he so chooses. He could also, if it seems more valuable, we'll see. I mean, it looks like Ryan's got enough to edge out other players for 2nd place on 3 cults here. Potentially. depends on what witches and nomads want to do, if anything, on the cults here. So one thing George could do is use his priest to bump on water here. It comes with 2 power, which means he'd still have enough, if I'm not mistaken, to build out a trading post and a dwelling. We have the players making their final calculations here. I do think this is going to be a tight one. George is sitting on a pretty lead here, but no pass tile. Engineers still have some resources left, are passing for a lot of points, but have no network. Alchemists have the lowest amount of points, but they are winning network. And there it goes. George takes water 3. What's better than water 2, you ask? Water 3. It's 1 better. That's just math. So George guarantees a win on water cult there, which means that engineers are going to want to use their bump, their water 2 bump on Earth for 2nd place. So Bizzle goes ahead and upgrades ship. It's the last action of the game. To connect on 3 ship, 14 network. Good for 2nd place, tied for 2nd place. So it looks to me like witches have nomad speed. Their cult presence is better. They still have a couple more points trickling in. So they'll be passing and their network's about the same. So I don't think nomads have this game. Engineers and alchemists still have some resources to do some building. And engineers do take the double spade. They dig A9 and then G10 down here. Not connecting is a real shame for engineers here because they've got a lot of structures on the board. But every one of those dwellings is 4 points here for them, so. Okay, and Red Alert takes the, interesting. Red Alert sends a priest for the last spot on Earth, which to me reads like they're queuing up to. Okay, Bizzle still had the stronghold action, so blocks potential engineers expansion to A7. It's mean, but it's understandable. Looks like the right play. So Ryan's got 1 more hex to build the dwelling on here in G10. Upgrades the trading post in order to free up the dwelling to do so. I think Red Alert's going to take Earth 3 here to swing that cult. Has the priest to close it out as well. I don't see any other reason why they would have put that priest to cult there. Temple's all they got to build anyways, so may as well get some cult action out of it, right? So this should be Earth 3. Got to down convert some power in order to not waste it. There it is, Earth 3. And so now Red Alert has the ability to close out Earth with 1 priest here. It's a nice little play. I didn't see it coming. I'm sure some of these other players did. Alright. George uses the spade on B3. Gets down that last dwelling. I do think that'll do it for George. He's going to pass out of the round. Izzle says, I've never seen someone murdered so hard after taking water, too. All right, so we're going to try to do a little winner's interview here with George. See what he thought of the game. Meanwhile, I'm going to try to figure out my audio setup here. Hope that it all works out. Attempt to not share my entire screen here, but get George on. We are going to cut the music for this. Let's see. Uh, all right, test. Hey, George. Can you hear me? All right, I cannot hear you. Still nothing. All right, last try. George, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Oh, you know what? I just got to adjust my audio better. Let's see. All right, say something again. All right, sorry, it doesn't look like it's happening. Anyways, thanks anyone for tuning in. In any case, great game by all. Congrats to George Shortwell here for the first victory, and see you all next time.